All right, we welcome in two very special guests to the Arizona beer community, the Arizona fitness community. I want to welcome in Alex Phillips, the Director of Marketing and Sales at Grand Canyon Brewing Company. Alex, good to see you.
Hello.
And we also have Justin Cross, the founder and CEO of Earn Your Booze. Justin, what's going on?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Now, we bring you in together here, Grand Canyon Brewing and Earn Your Booze, a fitness company and a beer company, right? But you guys collabed. Not a lot of people think that might go together. Talk about your collaboration on this new beer and how it kind of came together.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. A lot of people do say fitness and fun can't necessarily go together, but I stand strongly against that. So we started Earn Your Booze 5 years ago because we wanted people to work harder on whatever they do, especially on their health and their business and in their life, in order to earn the finer things in life. And, you know, a lot of people like us, you know, like to have some beers or some whiskey or some wine or something. And we know that's not necessarily healthy for us. So Earn Your Booze was basically created to get people to think more about what they're putting in their body, whether it's, you know, food, water, or alcohol. And we kicked it off 5 years ago, and Grand Canyon Brewing Company's been a big partner of ours over the years. We've done events together. We've done all sorts of media together. Alex and I have become great friends, and I originally moved out here to open a brewery back in the day. So I have a bit of a beer background. I like brewing. I like beer. I like the beer community. So Alex and I hit it off a handful of years ago, and I've always wanted to have a beer. Alex and I have been always looking for different ways to work together because our companies actually do pair pretty well, and here we are with the beer sitting in front of us right now.
Did you do you offer any kind of brewing advice to them by chance, or do you have any kind of favorite recipes that you lend to them from time to time?
Yeah, I tell them make sure it doesn't suck. You know?
that's always good. You never want beer to suck, right, Alex?
Easy instructions.
Yeah.
So New Year's resolutions for a lot of people, you know, kind of kicking in right now. People obviously want to get back into shape. If you're like me, and maybe over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, you've kind of fallen in love with craft beer a little bit too much, maybe a little bit of bourbon too much, you know, grandma's cookies too much. So, Justin, tell me a little bit about your program. Someone like me that I just described wants to get back into it. What's kind of a good way to kind of ease myself in, or should I ease myself in, or should I just go right for it?
That's a great question. And that's exactly what we teach at earnitallacademy.com. Because the number one question we've had over the 5 years of Earn Your Booze is, hey, Justin, I like this lifestyle or these events or this apparel, but what does that mean? How do I earn it? What do I actually need to do to drink this beer and have this kind of fun weekend, you know, food? So that's what we teach, right? So especially now over the holidays, I get it, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of holiday parties. There's a lot of cocktail parties. There's people in town. Everyone's making pies and all the food that we don't normally have. So a lot of people are feeling sluggish and they're feeling slow and they're feeling a little behind the curve right now, right? So most important thing is to just start moving. Even something as simple as walking can be very effective.
Oh, yeah.
So just start moving. Make sure you're hydrating, because I know, like, in Arizona, we're conditioned for it to be really hot, and that's typically when we drink water. But right now it's cold, and so a lot of people's water consumption is down. So make sure you're still consuming enough water, which is typically about 1 ounce per body weight. So I try to just go for and I try to go for like a gallon of water a day. Something like that. So basically just make sure you just start moving. And like you said, you don't have to jump right in and like all of a sudden become a fitness pro and, you know, just go
do
crazy
like your
with
workout, your 45-minute workouts that we see on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because like the problem is like a lot of people will jump into fitness now in January, but they try to do too much. They try to have a very strict diet of chicken, broccoli, rice, no alcohol. They try to go really hard in the gym. And before you know it, they hate what they're eating. They hate how sore they are. And they're done and they give up like a week or two in maybe, right? So we help you, no matter where you're at in life, get to your goal. If that's like losing fat or putting muscle on or just like feeling and maybe looking a little better, we help you do it in manageable bites so you can get long-term results from it. And that's essentially why we exist, is to help people look, feel, and function better. Yeah.
Well, we've had, you know, obviously a lot of rain here to start the new year, so not really a dry January for us. That I stole that from social media. It's been going around. Alex, why don't we, as I crack one of these, the Dead Hanger Pale Ale, tell us a little bit about the beer and kind of what we can expect from this beer and where we can get it.
Certainly. So when we set out to make a beer, having something full flavored, full bodied, worth earning was kind of the idea, right? So lagers are great. They take a while, but earning a lager doesn't feel as satisfying, right? Like Justin said, these things aren't great for us, right? Like, I mean, we can all just be honest about that, but all things in moderation. And like, for instance, I'm on the Earn It All current total recreation program right now. And it has become like more satisfying at the end. It's funny because I'm just trying to stay on brand with the whole thing, right? So at the end of the day, if I've done real good, I can have 2 beers. If I've done okay, I can have 1. And if I have not done well, I can have none. Right. And so I actually look forward to this at the end of the day. Like sometimes just drinking like a Pilsner is like reflexive, like I'm off work, crack, it's time to enjoy beer, right?
Sure.
So that's the idea. That's the ethos. And then classic craft beer is pale ale, right?
It's my favorite style.
Yeah, it's our brewer's favorite style. Like our Horseshoe Bend Pale Ale is like a popular beer from us. Sierra Nevada put craft beer on the map with a pale ale.
Yep.
And this is a modern take on the same style, right? Like hazy IPAs have become popular in the last several years when we've discovered that boiling hops for shorter amounts of time near the end of the boil leads to juicier, sweeter, and more rounded flavors instead of like the bitter harshness and sometimes overwhelmingly like piney bitterness of hops generally in the West Coast. So it's approachable in the fact that almost anyone can drink this beer.
Yeah.
And it definitely has like a lot of tropical. You're going to get some stone fruit in there.
Yeah, I just cracked and poured, and my first taste, I get a lot of the grapefruit is lingering on the back of the tongue there.
Just about to say, when you finish it, it definitely finishes with a strong grapefruit.
For sure.
Certainly. I have a thing for stone fruit, so we kind of wanted to kind of aim for that. Like stone fruit has, and most stone fruits are round, but it has this like rounded like mouthfeel, right? Where it's soft and like it's not as intrusive as citrus, but then it finishes nice with citrus, right? It's like it's almost like it's accentuating the grapefruit up and then out, and then those are so unfortunately really easy to drink.
Always a problem when they're too easy to drink.
Certainly, we keep it at 6.8, so it's very manageable to drink. It's got 12 IBUs. It's a hazy beer and it's a hazy pale. We just call it Dead Hanger Hazy because pale ale or IPA are mostly interchangeable words. I know there's style differences. Quit screaming in your car. I get it. But when you go to the hazy, the lines blur a lot more, right? And so I didn't want something as overwhelming as an IPA that needed as much sweetness or all the things that come with a hazy IPA, right? There's kind of like an expectation of that. But this is just, it's a great, the way I try to say it's a great trailer if you want to go pursue a more aggressive and opaque hazy beers, right?
Yeah.
This is a great trailer for that. And it's a beer, like I said, worth earning. And we haven't really, it's funny because I said I'd never do a hazy and here I am with Justin making hazies. So,
yeah. And
did he arm wrestle you on that or something and he won? Is that what happened?
Honestly, my mind is easily changed by people I like. So it wasn't very hard at all.
And like Alex is saying, like, we didn't want to come out with like a light beer like some people might suspect, like you were saying, like, okay, if a fitness company is collaborating with a brewery, what are they doing? Are they doing a low alcohol, like a lager? Are we doing a non-alcoholic beer, possibly something like that? And we said, no, you don't have to worry about the carbs and the calories in this because we are the company that shows you how to earn this beer. A lot of people won't, a lot of trainers won't. They say chicken, broccoli, rice, no booze. They frown upon booze. And there's even a lot of trainers out there that are actually in your face, jerks about it if you do like to have some drinks on the weekend, and that's not us at all.
Right.
So we're not saying that you can't drink, but we do teach you how to earn it, and sometimes that does mean learning true moderation for some people, or maybe cutting back, a bit. But like, we are the last fitness brand out there that's going to tell you you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, because you're, I was looking through. If you look on your website, your apparel brand is also to earn your whiskey or earn your bourbon,
Right.
earn your donuts, earn your wine. It's not just about beer or whatever, but it's some of those other things that you might look at and be like, well, I really need to earn that today before I.
Yeah, and like you nailed it. If you look at what's on our shirts, it's typically the things that don't just fit into like a a standard nutrition strategy, right? It's not saying earn your grilled chicken breast.
Yeah, there's no earn your carrots, right?
No. So we do donuts, tequila, whiskey, tacos, things like that are typically seen as like maybe a reward or a treat, or like some people might say a cheat meal or something like that. Like if we just acknowledge if you're going to put those certain kind of things in your body, cool. Let's work a little bit harder for it. Let's have a plan to fit that in, and that way you can still enjoy like your fitness journey, whatever that looks like for you.
Right.
We want you to enjoy it. That's the whole point. That's why people fall off, is because they don't enjoy it. They get a plan that's unobtainable. It's too much. It's overwhelming. And then they never get results. So we're saying, hey, look, we know how to do it because we've trained thousands of people, but we can also relate to you no matter what you do with your lifestyle. If you're in the beer industry, if you're in entertainment, or if you're, working behind a desk, we can help you with whatever your goal is and still have fun along the way.
Yeah. Well, what about like drinking while working out or vice versa? Like some of those, you have those beer runs or something where you're drinking along the way, or what's your opinion on those? Do those like hurt people, harm people? I've always thought they're kind of fun, but what are you defeating the purpose? Or
I look at them as fun.
Yeah.
You do something like that, you should be signing a pretty hefty waiver.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just fun. Like it's there is something about getting loosened up a little bit and maybe being a little bit more adventurous. If you've had a couple beers and you're doing an obstacle course or you're running or something like that, no one's going to say like there's a benefit to like lifting weights if you're drinking whiskey or beer. But like if you're doing a fun run or a beer run or something like that, that's really what it is. It's fun. But that's also, in my opinion, building a good community of people that are like, hey, like we don't take ourselves so seriously that we can't crack a beer from time to time. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's great for that, because there's a lot of people out there that they just want to do whatever it is that they do and be able to have fun, whatever that means to them. And again, there's a lot of people on the fitness side that frown upon that. And they say, if you're not following our plan to a T, you're a piece of crap. And it's like, no, we're not. We don't.
You don't want to be the guy that deprives himself of everything, right?
Right. No. Why wouldn't? The name is Earn Your Booze, and now it's actually earnitall.com because we do more than just booze now, right? But the whole point of earning something is to get that end reward, right? So it's not just earn forever and then you're gone. You should have some fun along the way, and you like we also help people like set bigger goals, right? Because Earn Your Booze is not just work hard Monday through Friday and then get drunk on the weekends. Like that's not it at all.
Right.
We want you to set real physical goals, real goals with your business, real goals with your family, goals that are take some extra work. They take some determination. They take some real planning, because when you reach for that bigger goal and you get it, it's much more satisfying when you finally do get that reward, whether that's just a weekend out with the friends, or if that's, buying a new car or signing a contract or something. We try to help people set bigger goals so we can have bigger rewards.
Sure. And back to the beer itself, dead hanger, that obviously comes from the exercise move of a dead hang, right?
That's right.
So talk, what is that it mean to you in terms of a dead hang? Is that I've read a little bit about, I know the move, but that's supposedly like the most physical test there is.
It's a great test of how long you're going to live, believe it or not, right?
Okay.
So we actually started doing this at beer festivals with Alex. We were doing pull-up competitions.
Yeah.
But then not everyone could do a pull-up, so like, cool, let's do dead hangs too, right? And believe it or not, like dead hangs are way harder than people might anticipate, right? So if you've never done a dead hang, all you have to do is go to a pull-up bar, a patio overhang, somewhere where you can like literally hang straight with your feet off the ground.
Okay.
Just hang straight and just see how long you can do it. A lot of people will set a 60-second or a 90-second timer, and they'll be very surprised they don't even get there.
Yeah.
So that's, this came up. Okay, what are we going to name this beer, right? Because we know the beer is going to be great. We know the collaboration is great, but what are we going to call this? And we're like, Earn Your Booze, Earn Your Beer. And like, no, we need something that's catchy. And this design that's on the can is one of our top selling t-shirts. So like,
I like that. So it's kind of a skeleton hand just crushing a can.
Yeah, just crushing the crap out of the can, right? And I was actually doing a challenge with my business coach, Sean Whalen, called a Dead Hang Challenge. And the challenge was whoever can hang the longest won $1,000 in a bottle of whiskey. And lo and behold, I won that challenge. And I just started to kind of play out perfectly as this beer was coming around. And I was like, you know what? I've already had some good success with a dead hang. So we already have the art. What do you think? And Alex is it was a quick yes, I think, right? And it just came out because now, especially when we go to beer festivals like Real Wild and Woody, Strong Beer Fest, all the places where you can find us this year, we're going to have our pull-up rig there. So we do pull-up competitions and dead hang challenges every half an hour. And every half an hour, people can win swag from us, from Grand Canyon. They can basically just win free stuff from us because they decided to do a little activity at the beer festival.
Nice. Are you guys, speaking of festivals, you guys, what do you got coming up? Are you going to be at Copper State next? I think it's next weekend.
No,
not that one. Okay.
No, I don't attend Copper State.
Okay. But Strong Beer, right? In February.
There's a billion festivals, right?
For sure.
The first thing first is the 12th. We're launching at Poor Bastards. I do that every time. So Poor Bastards downtown. It's the same guys that brought you Killer Whale Sex Club. Great place.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So we're going to do a launch party there, and that's going to be pretty fun. And then we have a series of events, Earn Your IPA, set up all over the Valley, West Side, Central, East. Basically, just like we're just going to bring the beer festival experience to the accounts, right? Same kind of thing, dead hang out, have fun, maybe win some prizes, maybe learn that you're not as in shape as you thought, maybe you're better off. And then, we'll have our Prickly Pear IPA there, our Deep in the Green double IPA, and then most importantly, this one right here gives you a hazy, an imperial, and a fruited IPA. So you got 3 different selections, 3 different ways to earn, show up, have fun. Like I said, first one of those on the 12th, and then I think there's 11 throughout the rest of the month, which leads us right up to Strong Beer Fest. Right, so we're going to be there, and then they're busy, but we're going to have this also at Brouhaha on the 21st of this month.
That's up in Flagstaff, right? Yep.
Yeah, that's correct. And since we're a Flagstaff brand, we really have to be there.
You're not obligated, but you're going to be frowned upon if you're not, right?
People ask questions if I'm not there. Yeah, for sure. I didn't attend 2 years in a row. I'm very outspoken in this industry about festivals and how they're run, and I want them to be run correctly, and I want them to be run with the breweries in mind. And I take a very strong stance against festivals that aren't. However, if they're in Flagstaff, I have to attend them anyways. So it'll be Strong Beer, Real Wild and Woody, Brouhaha for the big ones. I think there's one I'm missing in my brain somewhere, but if they're the big ones, we're going to be there with Dead Hanger, right? We're going to have our launch party, our events, and then Safeway has a local rotator SKU that we make the beer for. This is going to go into there, so it's going to be available in Safeway, Albertsons, Total Wine, statewide. The idea is to, just like this on the can, to crush it this year. Just get out there, get the beer everywhere, kind of spread the message and the ethos. And
can people find that right now?
Yeah, okay, absolutely. So we have it in our tap rooms right now. It's so Phoenix is yet to receive their shipment, which comes in next week.
All right. So if you're listening to this on Thursday, January 5th, in another week, it should be out.
So by Tuesday, you should be able to start finding it. And then, like I said, it's already, our distributor up north has already started putting it out there. So if you live up north, go to Safeway. It'll be there.
Yeah.
And it's on draft. We'll be putting it, a lot of what we're doing now is getting accounts to commit to putting it on draft. Some will put it on once and then kind of move on like rotators do. And then some will keep it on for the duration of this program, which is the first half of the year. I mean, the idea is to continue to make this beer as long as we can and figure out where we go from there. But we're just kind of, 3 days in. So
yeah, for sure.
We've been planning for a while, but just trying to take it one step at a time.
I like it. And there's been so much going on at Grand Canyon over the past year or so. You opened up a new location and page.
Yep.
I've heard from people up there. They love it. They love the space. They love, the atmosphere there. I was in your Flagstaff location last February for Beer Week. Okay. Love that spot. I think you guys are pretty new to the small batch going into that that location. And so if you are accustomed to like Grand Canyon Brewing their beers in cans on the shelves in stores, whatever, make sure you get up there if you're in Flagstaff and get to that brewery because they have so many great other options that are just there at that brewery because they're small batch. They're right off they're very fresh. They're right off the tap. I think your friend Kevin hooked me up with like 12 or 20 different samples. I forget.
Kevin Calloway's our brand manager.
Yeah, it was a fantastic night. And opened my eyes to a lot of what Grand Canyon is doing new. What was sort of like big programs other than what we've talked about? Is there any like expansion plans with? I know Williams is undergoing that kind of stuff right now, right?
Okay. It's a big question, and I'm happy to answer it.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you said, and just to kind of just pivot that real quick. You're absolutely right. We make so many SKUs that do not come down to the valley or even out into much distribution. We're the largest distributor in the state, or the largest distillery, not distributor. And like, it depends, usually like third, fourth, fifth, depending upon the year, kind of jumping around in volume scale for breweries. But we make a lot of stuff, right? We have a roaster, we make coffee, we make, we're R&Ding 0% gin. Each brewery makes its own specialty beers like Flagstaff and Page and Williams. We just finished up the Williams expansion warehouse, all that. We added 80% tank space for production, which is mostly how beer volume gets done. Like,
sure.
We didn't have a small brew house, which we don't. We have a 40, but we had 8 120 barrel tanks. We needed 6 more. It was a huge upgrade. Distillery got moved. It's the only thing left to do in Williams is to build the tap room, cocktail lounge. It's going to be speakeasy-esque for the distillery. As far as programs go, outside of the dead hanger, I have 2 important things that are going on this year, which is prickly pear everywhere, right? Like, I have a feeling, it's my theory, that prickly pear became Arizona's New Mexico hatch green chilies. What I mean by that is they got nationally popular. Prickly pear did in about 2019. And that, just like anything else in fades, but New Mexico is always known for hatch green chilies. It's what tourists look for when they go there. It's, it's a big deal. They have a festival. That's starting to happen here, and you're starting to see it. And so I've doubled down. So we make prickly pear wheat. We make prickly pear IPA, which I got tattooed on my hand. And then we make prickly pear vodka, prickly pear RTDs, 2 of them, a vodka soda and a vodka mule. And so the idea is we're going to try to get 2 prickly pear SKUs in at least 1 in every account we have. And so that's a big push for us. Prickly pear IPA was exclusive to Safeway all of last year. It's killer beer. We're excited for it. Safeway helped us incubate it. Couldn't be happier. And then the big thing, this is the biggest thing I'm working on, right? The dead hanger. But
yeah,
the second biggest thing is, and I'm very excited, we re-signed with the Coyotes for the 3rd time. So we will be making Kachina for at least 3 more years now.
The Kachina, and that's like just an ale, like what was it called? The throwback ale? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's just an easy drinking crusher. It's like as light as Coors Light, right? It's the kind of beer that you don't want to have to earn, that you want to be able to drink 5 of it a game because you're not going to be working out, right? And that's kind of the thought process there.
It's fun to see that too at an arena where a lot of times your options are limited to the big national brands, or
oh, absolutely,
Bud Light, Budweiser's, or Lagunitas, I think is the closest thing maybe to craft that
it is.
And then you see a Grand Canyon beer at a Coyotes game, and I mean I jump all over that every time I see it.
Thank you. The concessionaires are hard to deal with, no doubt. The Coyotes, beautiful. And the concessionaires are great people too. They're just, they're getting great deals from Bud Light, 25-ounce cans and stuff like that. But, with the team moving to Mullet Arena in Tempe, it's this great opportunity for us, right? We get to be introduced. Like, I know my demographic like the back of my hand, but this gives us a new demographic that we're not normally used to dealing with. And it's fun and it's exciting. And I'm excited to be working, in Tempe mostly with the Coyotes and stuff like that. We're doing all their patio parties. Like this Friday, there's one that we'll be attending. I'm usually out of them. I won't be there this Friday. But I
was going to say, how many games have you been to this year?
Only one this year, none.
Oh, none. Okay.
Because,
That's why I was curious your thoughts on the new arena, if you've been there yet. I haven't been yet, but.
I have. It was mostly just a joke because it's the 4th. So I went to a game like 4 weeks ago. I've only been to one this season. I like it. The players can hear you. You get close. It's a small enough arena. I was yelling at one of the Philly guys, and he turned his head and looked at me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's like reminiscent of when the Roadrunners played at Vets Memorial Coliseum, and there was like no one, maybe like 10 people in the crowd, and you can just yell at anybody you wanted.
Yeah, and after that trash can team from Boston came through, and then we have another trash can city coming through, it's just the energy was palpable. It was great. We won both those games too, and when we beat the Phillies, the Flyers, Philly Flyers, the arena was just, and that's the thing is like, Arizona's not like a hockey state, so put it in an arena the size that it needs the fan base for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the energy felt so much better than when I'd go to the old arena, right? And I went to tons of games there, concerts, but it's big, and it's almost too big for hockey. It's almost too big for most sports in the state. But the new arena is really great. We're looking to put Kachina anywhere we can, and might do some prickly pear Kachina. You never know, because we like that. And so that's kind of the big stuff we're working on. We plan to open up 2 more locations in Arizona this year. So,
any details on locations yet? Not yet.
No, my fan club's a little too big for me to go telling all the stories.
You got it. Well, I did. It seemed like forever ago. I think maybe it was your voice or somebody else's voice. I could have swore Grand Canyon was talking about expanding to the valley, but that was years ago. And then it got kind of brought up a conversation that I had with my co-host Johan, who's not here today. That Flagstaff breweries are kind of like, you guys are in the north, so you kind of like stick together, like, the Starks in the Game of Thrones, right? That y'all,
we are the kings of the
everyone
north,
is, everyone just kind of sticks to the north. No one has opened up anything down here, obviously. I know, Dark Sky is getting bigger, and Historic is getting bigger, and you guys are getting bigger, but there's no one that's made the trek to open anything down here in the valley. I guess your collaboration with the Coyotes is probably the closest thing to having a Flagstaff brewery here in the valley, right?
I'll give you this. So we are the kings of the north. This is true. We say that a lot. It's pretty funny, just to piss everyone off. Just in good fun, right? Like when we first moved a brewery to Flagstaff, I mocked up a shirt that said Grand Canyon, first brewery in Flagstaff. And on the back, it just said, when you drive in on Milton.
Yes.
just to poke them a little bit and have fun.
Yeah, because I think everyone argues still about who's the first, right?
Honestly, it wasn't us, so we don't care. We were in Williams. So, you're right. I've heard tale, and I know there have been legitimate attempts to northern breweries to kind of come down, but one of the things that's important to us in our expansion is that the deal makes sense, right? And that it's perfect, and that we really do believe the Kings of the North ethos, right? Like when we opened up, we got clowned a lot for being a tourist brand with a tourist name, and I've spent the last 10 years proving everyone wrong. Phoenix is on the list, but it has to work.
Yeah,
and we have to own it. We don't lease property. We only have one lease, and it's going to stay that way. And we only have one lease because we're never going to be able to buy in Flagstaff. That's just a fact. Like, it's too expensive. The city moves too slow. We're happy where we're at. Everything else we got to own, right? So I was talked to you right before we got on. Part of what I was doing in Williams last night was trying to secure some of that money, some of those properties. And one of those properties we discussed is in the valley. So that's where I'll leave it. We're looking at some very specific buildings in some very specific cities, and mostly they're north, but we do plan to come to Phoenix.
That's exciting. I mean, I think that's been something that I think people are been excited for a long time. And when they hear something like, oh man, we're coming to Phoenix, like I think everyone here kind of gets a little bit of sense of like civic pride whenever anyone hears about something coming to Phoenix. I don't know if it's like that in Flagstaff or Williams, but it is certainly here in the valley.
Agreed. I've lived in the valley since 2002, and I'm an Arizona native, and I mean, my best guess on that is it's not really a northern thing too much. I mean, I'm from Pinetop Lakeside, right? Like anything goes up there, it's all anyone's talking about.
Oh, sure.
But, Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the U.S. And if this country lives long enough to build another metropolis, it'll be here. And I think that's why people get excited, right? Like our population is explosive. We're expanding. We've got the money, the weather's great, right? It's dry Florida, sometimes people call it. this watching this city grow has been phenomenal to watch. And because the West is young and because it's happening in the modern era, it like LA didn't get built while Twitter existed, right? That all happened after. We've never really got to watch a metropolis come up in real time communication. It's been amazing to watch. And I personally am one of those people, right? Like when Black Rifle Coffee came to Phoenix, 2 locations, extremely proud of that. I went and, helped them do their both openings, right? I'm always excited when a company that's successful and nowhere near here is like, Arizona's a cool place to put stuff. But as a side note, Geno's didn't even last a year when it did that, right? So it's also got to be the right fit. Just because Arizona orders the most frozen pizzas to be shipped doesn't mean a physical location is going to work here. And that's, kind of a lot of the thought process that goes into our expanding, right? Like there's local breweries that are $10 million in debt to California investors, but we're not. We're debt free. We're swinging payments on our properties, but that's it. And so we're going to remain that way. So it was funny because we were talking to some dudes last night. They're like, well, what happens when this? And like, who tells you to do this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? We just do what we want to. And they're like, how freeing. It's terrifying too, but it's very freeing. If we want to open in Phoenix, we can. If we want to open in Tucson, we can. And that's that. And that's what we're going to kind of work towards.
But it's got to be right. It's got to make sense. And I think I learned that lesson when I talked to Kevin up at the Flagstaff location last year. He was telling me about when they opened that, the menu for food was, they were intentional that because Namarco's Pizza was also in the parking lot, that Grand Canyon wasn't going to do pizza.
Yep.
They were going to take that away, right?
Yeah. So, we do scratch kitchens. We have a chef at each location, and then we have a concept chef who kind of travels around. Same thing with our managers. We have GMs at each location. We have a concept manager. So that's what's always great, right? Williams kind of set the pace, and then we want the menus to have crossover, but we don't want them to be identical. And everyone's got different opinions on that. Like if you're going to have, the same sandwich that's in Williams, it's in Page, it's in Flagstaff, I want that to taste the same every time at every place. But I don't want everything to be the same at every place. Why else would I build small breweries inside of these things?
Exactly.
To have special beers. Right?
Sure.
So, Chef Edith does sushi once a month in Williams. Like, sets up, goes and gets, like, fresh fish, has it all, like, kind of lined up, has everything planned down to the detail, takes pre-orders. We don't do that in any other store, right? That's a her thing. And so that's always been pretty kind of interesting with our food offerings. And so when we expand, we'll kind of keep that same thing in mind, right? It's what does this neighborhood need? Own your backyard isn't some throwaway phrase for brands. It's a livable, measurable thing, right? Like, how does Grand Canyon survive? Well, we own the North, right? And everywhere we moved, when Page, we moved there, and then everyone's like, "Oh, well, we're not going to carry your stuff because you're competition." We're like, we're home. We're going to be part of your community. Let's hang out. Right? Like, what is it that's going to offend you about our presence? You think we're going to make the same food as you? We're actually not going to. This place, like Williams, needed pizza. Page doesn't need a whole bunch of barbecue like we do in Williams, right? So it's all a matter of what does this community need? How can we be of service? Because as long as we do that right, the only thing we need in exchange is money out of people's pockets. And they'll come give it to me.
And we were talking earlier about merchandise too, because you have taken a lot of great pride and ownership and enhancing the Grand Canyon. We talked about the Earn Your Booze merchandise off the hook. I mean, you guys sell so much stuff at these festivals. Tell me a little bit about the shirts the shirt that you're wearing and some, like Grand Canyon, they're kind of their philosophy going forward in merch, because that's a big part of going to a brewery and actually taking something away other than, the beer I just drank, which doesn't sit with you for that long, right? After you obviously you work out and you earn your booze, but the shirts and the hats and stuff, they stick with you. And that's really important to customers and to you guys to make sure that looks good, right?
Absolutely. So the shirt I'm wearing is it's an idea I had submitted to Kevin, our brand manager, and this is not the idea I submitted to him, but it's a better idea. And so I thought it would be cool if it looked
state of Arizona with some suds on top.
If the straight edge was like a can,
sure,
and then it kind of faded into the state, I thought that would be cool. He did this where it's like just the states of beer foam. I've seen it kind of copied from a handful of breweries up north. I'm paying attention. And so this is one of our most popular shirts. People love this shirt. I like it. It's very soft. Our mantra is to make beer we want to drink, liquid we want to drink, food we want to eat, and I want to make clothes I want to wear. Right. And so, like you said, people want to take something with them. Like, if you want to sell a shirt, make it fly, right? No one wants to wear a lame shirt, no matter how much you like something. It could be my favorite thing in the world. If the apparel's not cool, if it's not awesome or rad or makes you want to feel, that pride, I am obsessed with Arizona. I do have a lot of civic pride for the state. And I think that, between the Sonoran Desert, mostly in the U.S. being here, and the flavors that come out of the ground and the culture here and like the way we are one of the biggest blended states out there, right? So we put a lot of that forward in the apparel, a lot of sunset starburst from the flag, a lot of state shape stuff. But Kevin is constantly making new designs. Our founder's brother does a lot of our apparel, and he'll make like 3 of just some one-off hat and take them to strong beer and never make that hat again.
They're just gone. Everyone buys them up.
Yeah. And, we make quite a bit of money on apparel now. And it's funny that we had a pretty decent apparel program, and then we went to the Craft Brewers Conference, and I think it was Three Sisters Brewing Company. I think that's the right one. Sitting in on one of their seminars, and she talked about how they sell like maybe $100,000 in beer a year, and she's like, and I make $250,000 in merch.
Wow.
She's like, and here's why. And I was like, I'm gonna listen to this. And so we took some stuff from that, right? Any great framework has some stuff you can take off it. And it's really kind of helped, that limited availability stuff that I just talked about. There's a few things that we do to kind of, bring sales up and for merch. And I love good merch. It's also a great way to support people. Like, if you don't drink and you want to support your friend's brewery, buy a t-shirt, throw it in your closet, wear it when you work out, right? Like, I've even seen like some online people, like there's a guy who had a brewery and I think his wife got injured, and then people were like, well, the best way to support them is they have an online store that has merch. Go buy it. And so just lots of different ways to kind of skin a cat on that one. But yeah, I take this brand very seriously, right? It's my baby, and I like having a ton of fun. This industry is nothing but just the best. It's full of mostly cool people, and we all get to address like the cool teenagers we wanted to be.
Yeah, totally.
So let's make some cool apparel while we're doing it, right? So that's just kind of how we approach.
Yeah, I think when we had our awards festival back in October, there was one guy maybe dressed up in a suit, and then everyone else was kind of brewers, button up the brewer shirt and hats and stuff. I'm like, that's what you want it to be, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's the crowd. Speaking of merch, I don't know if Justin caught this, but I do have one of the Earn Your Booze cups there. I'll show it to the camera. And we happened by the booth at Strong Beer last year, and my wife, of course, I don't know, 20 samples in, gotta buy a cup.
That's right.
So keep that in mind, or whenever I pull that out for coffee, I'm like, oh, maybe I should go work out later today. So
it's
that's
working.
A good reminder, right?
Yeah, it's working. Everything you just heard here about Grand Canyon is, a big reason why we choose to partner with them and why we're happy and honored to partner with them. Because through Earn Your Booze, we've worked with some of the largest liquor brands on the planet, like all the big portfolio brands. The guys that own Don Julio and Bullet Bourbon and Kettle One, and all those big brands like that. So, when we are looking, okay, what are we going to do for our product? Because I've always wanted a beer. We're eventually going to have a vodka and a whiskey, and we do lots of merch. What you just said there in a nutshell is why we partner with Grand Canyon, because everything they do is top notch. Like, if you go to any of their breweries, they're all beautiful. They're all on theme. They're kind of like a log cabin or a Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, that one in Flagstaff, that feels just like a perfect like winter mountain town kind of bar to hang out in, or a restaurant brew pub to hang out in. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And all their merchandise, like one thing he didn't mention is it's all on really high quality stuff too. Cause a lot of breweries, they'll come up with a cool design, but they'll put it on some crap shirt, like a Hanes beefy tee. And nobody wants to actually wear it.
Yep.
Be soft.
Yeah. So everything they do.
Yeah. My large shrinks down to a medium or schmedium in with one wash.
That was one of the first things we actioned. Is the first brand we went with was good, but they would shrink half a size, and I just don't do that, man.
No,
like
you can't have that.
This is the year of our Lord 2023. Why on earth are we still calculating shrinkage
right
on shirts you buy? Like, I wear this size, I should be able to buy this size. We should have figured out how to stop making shirts shrink, either through something we can do pre-wash or just figure it out, right? And we have, like, you can have quality materials that won't shrink up on you. And that's not to say that, like, things that don't have their purposes or their use, and they do. But again, I'm excited to be living in the future, right? And I'll repeat it again, because it's one of my favorite things is, like, a lot of us do just dress like the cool teenagers we always wanted to be, because the uptight boomer class is kind of fading out and we're taking power, and so it's fun, right? And again, like, I like to be as rugged and rough as anybody else. I'm an outdoorsman. I grew up in the mountains. I love doing the earn it all stuff, but, like, why does my shirt gotta suck? Why do I gotta be uncomfortable wearing it? It should just be it should feel like a hug, to be honest. Like, it really should. Like, when I put my shirts on, like, right after, like, this morning when I put the shirt on, I just got out of the dryer. It was still hot, but just pulled it after I folded everything else, put it on. It just felt so soft and just on my skin. I was like, it's just such a satisfying feeling.
There's no second guessing on that. Yeah, I'm like, am I going to regret wearing this shirt later in the day? And if the answer, if you even have to ask yourself that, just take the shirt off and just, like, throw it away, right?
There were so many years of my life where I was basically forced, either through work uniform or just money or just whatever, just my own ignorance, like, just never comfortable wearing a shirt. And then once I found myself in control of that, I was like, oh, this is very solvable. And that's just something, again, it all comes back to, like, I don't know, I think in the age of influencers, right? Like, just if you're genuine and people like what you do or what you like, they kind of, like, jump on board. And so, like, I like comfortable clothes that look rad, and hopefully y'all do too, right? And if you don't buy my shit.
Yeah, I haven't been to the Williams location, but I know the Flagstaff location. It kind of has almost like a mini department store feel. The merch section there, it's like really well done.
You should check out Williams.
All right.
3 times the size. Like, so
that'll be my winter or my summer plans for sure.
I don't know if you've ever been to Boulevard in Kansas City Brewing. It's big. Our merch is kind of inspired by that, right? You walk in, you're immediately immersed in, like, a Disneyland style gift shop. It's big. It's where our hostess area is. Like, it's a hangout. There's a big iron potbelly stove that actually does heat up the place. It's always got wood in front of it in the winter. Like, I walked by it last night. It's got a sign that says, "Don't touch, it's hot."
Yeah.
It's got this river feature. You walk across a bridge, and then the whole place opens up into this massive 2-story tap room. There's an upstairs with a second bar that usually doesn't get used, but when we're busy, it does. And then that goes to our kitchen, which is oddly small. And then that goes, and you go right out the kitchen, and then you're in the brewery, right? And so it's this just massive envelopment of the brand. I call it the Bass Pro Shop of breweries.
It really is. There's a river in it. Like, no kidding.
There's stuffed animals in a treehouse, and
little kids go fishing in it, right?
A few fell in there. It's not hilarious. It's hilarious. You just can't, like, obviously laugh because someone's fishing their kid out of there.
Yeah, no, it's not like the Michael Scott falling in the pond and Jim just, like, not getting him out and everyone laughing.
We had a woman fall in the pond. I was just literally this morning telling somebody about this, and I was like, what's really funny is when little kids fall in, usually just an adult comes and scoops them up, or someone sees and catches it, right? And we are a family brewery, so our kids are, like, John, everyone's kids are always running around the brewery. So we're on top of that kind of stuff. But when you're an adult person who has fallen into a very small display river, you have to pick yourself out of that. Like, you have to, like, move and, like, get on an elbow or a knee. You have to, like, push yourself up. Like, it's a whole thing, and you're wet, and it's not very accommodating on spacious. was just one of the most entertaining things.
Yeah, and I imagine
I've watched.
you're more than likely a tourist there doing that. So what do you do there? Do you drive home wet? Do you?
Yeah,
Buy some new merch.
Yeah, buy merch. Yeah,
well,
it's right there.
Right now, you kind of have to. It's. I was there last night. It was so cold. Like the parking lot was still an ice sheet this morning. I couldn't imagine falling in the winter and being like, "Well, I guess I'll just hang out." No, you're gonna buy some merch and change all of those clothes
for sure. You're gonna need a hoodie and the beanie. And are there brewery pants now? I don't know.
You just wear the hoodie like pants.
Yeah,
buy a second hoodie.
2 hoodies. Yeah.
couple orders of socks too.
Yeah, we do socks, yeah. I like socks. I
like brewery socks, yeah.
It's really funny though. I see you have the wilderness sticker on your thing. So they'd always put beard crafted on their beers. And me and Brett Detler, founder Wilderness, were buddies. And I was making socks. He's like, "Do you know what would be hilarious?" I was like, "If I put foot crafted on the bottom." He's like, "You read my mind." And so all of our socks on the bottom say foot crafted.
Perfect.
For no reason.
For no reason.
For no reason.
For no reason. I mean, well, there's probably somebody listening to this now that has wondered that the entire time they put those socks on, and now they kind of know.
Well, handcrafted is in our logo, right? Like if you look at our logo right here, it says handcrafted. We actually had to fight for that trademark and won it. So I just, it's on your foot. It's foot crafted.
The handcrafted trademark just for brewing or just in general trademark?
Inside of that logo, right? So
yeah.
So there's the whole Tito's blowout and stuff like that. And they're like, well, so I forget exactly. We have a very good trademark attorney with a name like this. We're the only national park named brewery with a trademark.
Yeah.
So like Zion and all the other national park named breweries don't have one. We're the only one. We have a very good trademark attorney. And I've had to defend this brand quite a bit. Even Rogue put out a beer called Grand Canyon. They were really cool when I was like, "What are you doing?"
Rogue up in Oregon? Rogue?
Yeah, they're like, wow. "Oh, you guys are still open. Sorry about that." I was like, "Ouch, but thank you."
I think we have a good streak now of getting cease and desist stories on our podcast. Perfect. I kind of like that. Not saying you guys are cease and desist, but there's always that friendly phone call, right? And then they're like, "Oh yeah, we understand. We'll knock it off," right?
So I just want to be very clear about anyone in the beer industry listening to this. A cease and desist is the friendliest way to legally cover your ass.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, just pick up the phone." Do you know how many stories in ugly lawsuits starts with that? It's wild. A cease and desist to me is the friendly, "Please stop." Call me if you have questions. That's the call me. And I found that to be particularly wise. When we were a younger brewery, yeah, the instinct is we're friends, right? And I just want to pick up the phone, call you. But the Lagunitas Sierra Nevada lawsuit showed us a lot. And it was just protect yourself, right? Like this will be day 5 in a row I say this. The reason our company mostly works, and the reason why I've been friends with my partner for 10 years, or I've known him since we were kids. The reason it works, I always tell people, I'm like, listen, friendship is divine. Don't do business without a contract. Just don't do it.
Nope.
That way, when someone's mad, or especially in our industry, had a few beers in them, someone says some stuff they don't mean or didn't want to, and there needs to be a mediation, there's a piece of paper that says what happens. Just keep it. That way, when you guys are getting heated up, it's in the back of your mind how this plans out. Because when you're mad, you're like, well, I'll do this, and that'll work, because you're not thinking clearly, right? The beer business is full of a lot of really great people who sometimes don't do their due diligence. And so always send a C&D and always have a contract with your partners.
I like that. Good advice out there. If you're listening, thinking about starting a brewery, want to brew beers with your buddies and call that a business. Listen to my man, Alex over here. He's been through it.
I've watched a lot of those friendships turn into not friendships from a distance.
I like that.
Me and John's still strong.
Well, Grand Canyon is still strong, and their latest beer, Dead Hanger Hazy Pale Ale. Look for it starting next week here in the Valley. It's up there at the Grand Canyon Brewing locations already up north. And their collab with Earn Your Booze. Great local company, great website. What is it? Earnitall.com.
Yes, sir.
You guys are on earnitall.com. Look through their apparel site. Awesome shirts, awesome hats. What other kind of stuff you guys have on that site?
You can link to it right from that website, but earnitallacademy.com is where we get you into our training program so you can learn how to earn your beer, earn your booze, and just get in shape in general, right? We've assembled like the best fitness and nutrition coaches on the planet who also like to drink. Right. They also get your lifestyle. So if you haven't had success before with, finding the results that you want for your body and your mind, come give us a shot. You go to earnitallacademy.com. You can see the different options there. We even have an app on the Apple and the Android store. You can download to your phone. It connects to your watch so you can track literally everything from your sleep to your steps to your workouts to your calories and protein and carbs, everything. We've basically made it really easy for you so you don't have to think about how to earn your booze. You just follow our coach's advice and you're going to get results.
What's the app name?
It's called Earn It All.
Earn It All.
Yep.
There you go. App Store, Earn It All. Download the app. Start getting in shape for 2023. I'm starting. I hit the Peloton a couple times this week, back in the gym tomorrow, and I'm going to earn my booze with these guys. And the cans kind of, if you leave a couple of those in your fridge and you drink them once in a while, it'll remind you to earn your booze every time you look at your beer fridge. Right, guys?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Alex from Green Canyon Brewing and Justin from Earn Your Booze. Thanks so much for being here today, guys.
Cheers, bud.
Thank you. Cheers.